What's up, Scotty? We're going beyond the borderline with your hosts, Connor, Cam, Phil, and Ryan.
I didn't think you would
Amen
do it.
to that.
That was a good one. Well, welcome back, folks. It is a lovely evening tonight, and we're going to be going off of what we ended last week's discussion on, or last week's discussion on, which was aliens. Essentially, we started talking about ghosts, and then since that was all supernaturally and stuff, it tended towards aliens. So from there, we're going to be discussing essentially the question of why have we not contacted aliens? Why have they not contacted us? You know, the Fermi Paradox, essentially. So I guess I may as well.
Might as well explain that for people
Might
that
as well
aren't familiar.
explain it. Right. So basically, the Fermi Paradox is, well, basically, there's this thing called the Drake equation, which estimates the number of probable civilizations there are in the universe, or I think, or at least in the Milky Way galaxy, based on, you know, the stars and the probability of habitable planets that there are. And let me just look at what it is here. So Drake said that there are probably between 1,000 and 100 million planets with civilizations in the Milky Way. So based on that probability, we then have the conundrum of, okay, but we've never actually seen aliens, for sure. We don't have any hard evidence that they exist at all. Yeah, that we know of, that they exist at all. But the probabilities would tell you that the universe is teeming with life based on the mathematical equation. So the question is, well, I mean, how do you square that circle, right?
Well, this just brings it back to the point that I made last week, and that is, maybe it's probably highly unlikely, but let's say the bare minimum that there is 1,000 civilizations not unlike our own. The one answer for why we haven't seen aliens, if they do exist, is, like I said, highly unlikely, but it's possible, is that, they're just so far advanced at us that they're capable of hiding themselves from us, so that might be a reason why we haven't been able to see them.
True.
Although highly unlikely, but it's certainly a possibility.
Well, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, but also we make a lot of galactic noise, for lack of a better term, like radio waves and, all this kind of stuff that we're sending out into space for the last at least 100 years, basically, if there were intelligent species out there that were monitoring the galaxy, they would know that we were here, right? Because we're not trying to hide our presence. So, I mean, but there's just been nothing, nothing.
Maybe we're just insignificant, though. Like, I know people like to think that, Earth's the center of the universe, like, and every person kind of thinks, like, my world, you're just living in it, but maybe we're just not as important as we think we are.
Yeah, but if we're sending out radio waves, like, let's say it's true that there are like super advanced civilizations and we can't detect them because they don't want to be detected, or we just don't have the ability to detect them. At some point, they would have been like along our, like parallel to us in terms of development, right?
Yes, yeah, I know
so
what
like
you're saying.
they would, before they knew how to hide themselves, let's say, there would have been markers, you would think, unless it's just so extremely rare that like the odds of bumping into another civilization are just astronomical.
So the other side of the coin is maybe we are the most advanced civilization in the known universe. Once again, that's probably highly unlikely, but if that's the case, maybe we just haven't found the planets that do have those civilizations. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we can use the Hubble telescope and different technology to examine and view different solar systems and planets and systems and stars. But even when we're able to tell whether or not a planet is Earth-like, and we can get some estimation of their atmosphere and their geological makeup, we still don't have the capability of 100% identifying whether or not there is life on those Earth-like planets, right?
Yeah.
So who's to say maybe we have found a planet that does have a civilization that's like ours, but we haven't been able to see it.
Yeah. hopefully, man, we need to ramp up space exploration like
Oh, I
big time.
agree. Going privatization of space programs was the best thing for the space industry.
Yeah, but like outside of the solar system, you know, which is probably not going to happen in our lifetimes. But you know, there's all these like exoplanets that I forget some of the main ones. I think, although I may have heard this on Ancient Aliens, something called Kepler.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, Kepler B22 or something. Maybe the closest exoplanet that could have life. But the point is, there's tons of them, right? So therein lies the paradox.
So maybe,
So-
yeah, maybe we won't reach, a planet like that in our lifetime, but I'm fairly confident we'll see a man on Mars in our lifetime.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
definitely.
I hope so.
Before we have kids, probably there will be, dude.
Speaking,
Really?
yeah.
You think so?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's a pretty so you're saying like by 2030.
What year is it again?
This is
2020.
2022.
How old are we?
We're 23.
So
Phil's 24.
Maybe we'll have a couple.
Hey.
I don't know.
I don't think we'll see a man on Mars, but more development, more, shuttles, rovers, what have you, sent to Mars for sure.
Well, isn't Elon
Well,
trying
already-
to do
It's
it
already,
by?
but
20
aren't there already?
There's already rovers on Mars. They're looking.
Mhm.
They're trying to find water right now,
Yeah.
and, like they're sampling and stuff like that. But I mean, if they believe that there's water on Mars, then there's going to be microorganisms that lived in that water. So technically, like aliens, if there is water on Mars, and there is
Well, yeah,
then
yeah,
technically
that's-
aliens exist.
Yeah, I agree, Connor, but I think we're talking more about intelligent life, comparable to our own
Yeah.
intelligence.
Although
then-
Mars used
Yeah.
to be like they theorized that Mars used to have an atmosphere, right?
Yep.
And like
Yep.
could have been Earth-like. Obviously, you talk about different planets. There's so many different factors. Like the composition of the atmosphere and the gravity coefficient and stuff like that, which makes life. If life exists in other places, it would be so much different. But there's certainly ice on Mars at the poles.
Mhm.
So if there was an atmosphere, could there have been water? Absolutely.
Well, then
There's some evidence based on erosion tracts and stuff that there quite possibly was at some point.
Well, this gets into the larger discussion of, is terraforming going to happen on Mars?
True.
Because I've read and watched a lot of stuff, discussing the theories of how terraforming could be done on Mars. And there's a lot of different interesting avenues that, science could take us to achieving that goal.
There was this is
Wasn't
more Elon
Musk,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna
like,
talk about Elon so much. I feel
nuking the
like.
poles?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that. I've seen that.
When he,
a
when he was
suggestion.
like, do you want the quick way or the easy way or the long way?
Yeah.
And the interviewer to Elon Musk was like, well, what's the quick way? He's like, well, you can just nuke the North and the South Pole.
He was so
Yeah,
matter
but-
of fact about it, and the interviewer was like,
I don't think
you're
I don't think-
legitimately like a Bond villain, aren't you?"
Well, I don't think that's the science on that is 100% accurate. Like, there's no guarantee that it'll work.
Well, you'd have to like
Right.
continuously build an atmosphere. Yeah, like you can just nuke the poles and hope for the best. But you could. I have no idea, man. Like again, I don't know shit about this,
The
but
reason, so
you
I don't,
could,
I read and watched this a long time ago, but the reason why that, just straight up nuking the poles won't work. I'll stop myself before I get too far deep into it because I don't remember all of what I watched. I think it was on National Geographic, but the problem is you have to thicken Mars's atmosphere, right? And I think it has something less than 10%. The strength of Mars's atmosphere is not even 10% of Earth's. I don't know if that figure is correct, but in order for oxygen and different biomes and stuff to actually grow and sustain, oxygen and nitrogen needs to be kept on the surface, and under Mars's current atmosphere, that's not possible. So just nuking it won't work.
Well, think about it this way: if you do any science experiment in a vacuum, it usually doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
True.
so hard to foresee or to forecast it, I find.
dude, it's a possibility. Going back to like the original topic of why haven't we found the aliens? So Earth is like a quarter of the age of the universe, right? So there definitely could have been much older civilizations out there on older planets. And the universe could just be a freaking graveyard, dude. You know,
That's true. Yeah,
like
yeah.
no species
I
was
never
able
thought about
to
that.
get, yeah, like no species was able to get off world, you know, and they just ended up either destroying themselves or their sun died or an asteroid, you know, blew them to chunks or, you know,
And you know,
any kind of thing.
and if those civilizations exist thousands or millions of light years away from us, we wouldn't know of their ultimate demise until well after our own existence because of how, you know, how fast light travels.
Yeah. But yeah, like the
And what
universe
if-
is something like
yeah.
15 billion years old and the earth is like less than 5 billion.
Mhm.
So it's like there could be just ancient planets which did have life, but
Mhm.
those fuckers just succumbed to, I don't know, the fate of staying on
Exploding
their
sun.
world and dying. Yeah.
What if that is like the doppelganger effect, where like each civilization, like we have happened multiple times in the universe's lifetime, that you actually can't see any other civilization that happened way back when, because it's a mirror copy or an iteration of the generation before.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, I don't know, isn't the whole idea of if you see a doppelganger, you like spontaneously combust, or it's just a theory, but it's just interesting.
Oh yeah, it's not actually true.
I know,
What,
I know.
what you're
but
saying? Are you saying that like you're talking about if the universe is infinite, then
I
you
think
would
what
No,
Phil's
come
trying to say,
across
I'm more
this?
so talking about like
here's I'm saying how
maybe
Phil's
we
perceiving it.
are not
Uh,
able to see like
how Phil's
life.
talking about it, it makes sense like this. It's like when you think about like again going back to like you know higher power and stuff like that. It's like when one civilization completely dies, then it resets on a new planet, and that whether it's like human beings or different like species of intellectual creatures, whatever it may be, starts anew, like way back to like caveman era, and then you know that like species has a chance to grow and expand, and then you know if they end up killing themselves, then boom, a new galaxy or a new planet of inhabitants forms in the world, and they have a new chance to be better than the previous one.
Yeah, but like that, it can't just happen.
Like basically
Yeah,
my point is that maybe
unless it's a simulation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
for
unless
fuck's
you're,
sakes,
Or
here we
it-
go again.
I guess
I don't
it's
really go
not-
that route, but basically I want to say that like maybe we're just like take a philosophical point of view. Maybe we're just not supposed to find other intelligent
Oh,
life.
that was your point. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Like somehow there's like this barrier between us. Like, are we, first of all, are we even intelligent compared to what's out there? I have no idea. But
Mhm.
it's just it's kind of cool to think about.
Yeah.
Like
But what you
maybe
were what you mentioned, Connor, about like, well, you said a higher power, but so that's like the Fermi paradox is actually, well, theologians take it to be one of the primary proofs of God's existence and like the truthfulness of human beings being God's creation. In that, well, the paradox being, why haven't we found alien life? The answer being because humanity is unique and created by God to be the only sentient species in the universe.
You could
Right?
you could chalk that up to confirmation bias, though.
What do you mean?
Just because we haven't found anything doesn't mean there isn't anything.
Yeah, right. But it's still a paradox, right? And so that's a potential answer.
You guys are also like there's there's a whole other side of the coin here too, where it's like governments may have found these proofs and they're hiding it from the general population, and these people that are seen as tinfoil hat people or crazies that and I mean after they've been exposed and they believe that what they see is like they've seen aliens or you know, they've been in contact with aliens. People deem them as like crazies or whatever, but
Well,
they say the government came and took this alien technology and, you know, pretty much turned them into like an outcast, and that's, I guess, the whole reason that Area 51 has this like uh I don't know what want to say, like, what's the best word to describe what Area 51 is this whole conspiracy. I don't know if that's the right word for it,
But yeah,
or
but none of this shit
mist
about
over
Area
it.
51 is like validated. It's all like cultural urban legend. Like there's really no proof at all that anything sketchy is going on there in any way. And
Yeah,
the
even
people that
yeah,
come forward about aliens, like
and
they never have any
that's
solid proof. The best
so.
proof is when the Navy released that footage, I think last year, um, of basically the like dash cams on their fighter jets, whatever the hell it was, the radar essentially,
Mhm.
showing them following these vehicles, and you could hear them talking to each other as well and being like, yeah, what the fuck is that shit? And then they just take off, from their radar. Like they're following them, and then they just blitz off at unimaginable speeds. And that
And
was
See,
like
stop
that's
on a dime.
yeah, and that was officially
Which-
released by the United States
so. You know
military.
what? You know
That's the
what?
best evidence.
So whether that's aliens or fuck Russia has got some fucking underhanded shit up their sleeve or whatever,
China.
that shit when stuff like that is real and it gets released by like official sources like the American Navy, that shit gets me hyped because I'm like,
It's
it
cool.
lets my imagination just run wild.
Yeah, like stuff like that, because it's actually a reputable source. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, how do you explain that? I don't know. The other thing is have you guys ever heard of the WOW signal?
No.
This is
Wasn't
some
it
other shit.
one of the loudest recorded sounds or something?
No, that's I think actually they featured it on the same show. Did you guys ever watch William Shatner's Weird or What?
No.
Like maybe
Never
a
Oh,
did.
couple
Heard it.
episodes.
Heard it was good though.
shit was dope. Anyway, they did a bunch of like shit like this where there was strange phenomenon and they would examine it. But it was like a radio signal, like I was talking about earlier. That was detected by some like telescope in Ohio, like radio telescope, like the big ass ones. And basically the guy's sheet, it's just recording like zeros and stuff, right? And like 0, 1, 0, 0,
Yeah,
0, 0,
binary.
0,
Yeah,
0,
yeah. It's
whatever.
binary.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden there's this string of like 6, 7, Q, R, basically an incredibly strong wave that like looks like something man-made, but emanating from this, random spot in space in like this Sirius star cluster.
Like the reading came out to kind of signify like the word wow,
No.
or just
no. It's called the WoW. No. It's because he was so fucking floored that he literally wrote on the paper in pen. He circled the sequence
Yeah.
and wrote "wow" beside it because he was like,
Okay.
"What in the fuck is this?" Now, there's like possible scientific explanations, of course. Like comets and random activity, supernovas and shit like that. But yeah, for a long time people were like, damn, that could be some evidence right there. That's a radio wave, looks like something that humanity would produce, and here we go, we found it. But then we've also been observing the skies for like 80 years, and that was the only time we observed that. So it's like, it's just strange, man. It's just strange. I honestly don't really believe in aliens anymore.
So I've often thought about this, and this might get a little tinfoil hatty. So we don't have any concrete proof that there's any alien activity or the American government is trying to stifle or hide American activity at Area 51. But we have a plethora of, like fake fiction hoaxes. Oh yeah, actual alien sightings. Have you ever guys thought that maybe the US government is leaking these small things on purpose to try and put us in a spot of disbelief? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way if aliens exist that the United States government could hide everything, prevent any and all leaks. So is it possible that they are purposely leaking small things to keep, our curiosities at bay?
But leaking what? Like random people's testimonies? Because
Like
Images,
they're letting these
videos.
small things go, and then you're able to say no, this isn't real, like this is just a doctored video or a doctored picture or whatever, it's just made up. And then in the case of something real actually coming to be, you could just blame it on this already preconceived, oh, this isn't real, this already
Well,
like image of people that have seen real,
yeah,
that
but I mean, it's
think
not
have
the
seen
U.S.
real things.
government that's making it an unrealistic idea. Like it already is a pretty fantastical idea to believe, you know. So, like, people naturally wouldn't just believe in aliens. So, I think that's what it is, really. And most of the videos you see are fake, or you can trace them back to where they came from, or the
100%.
pictures are like, someone threw a frisbee in the air coated in tinfoil or some shit. Or like, I don't know. Like,
Change the ISO and then bam.
I just mean that there's very limited like actual good evidence. And I don't even mean that that's conclusive evidence, but just good-ish,
Well,
right?
hold on, Cam. The lizard people are here. They're hunting us. Hillary
Right.
Clinton's one of them. They're here.
She is. Yeah, I heard.
It's
I forget who it was. So I think someone that used to work with her, but like hardcore Republican. So he's obviously extremely biased. But he was talking about how she like smells of sulfur and brimstone.
What is she, a fucking demon?
I was like, come on, man. Like,
oh boy.
No,
Yeah.
sorry. As Alex Jones would say, she's an interdimensional demon coming
Yeah.
down.
Vampire.
They're gonna suck your blood.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that guy's
Oh,
fucked.
man.
I wonder what happened to him.
I definitely
Yeah.
understand though, like the whole stance where it's like there's like, again, like back to the two-sided coin, right? There's like the people who are like, well, I don't have any conclusive evidence, so it must not be real. But then at the same time, it's like there's no conclusive evidence that it's not.
Yeah, but you have to prove your point, right? You
Yeah.
can't just say shit and then
Well,
expect people to believe it.
Like
It's the
going
whole
back
thing
to
it's the whole thing about faith, right? Like you got to believe. Maybe there's no conclusive evidence right now, but in the future there may be. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
like I'm just saying, like, you can't discount it just because there's nothing solid right now. Like, who would have thought, like, thousands of years ago, who would have thought we
Yeah,
would be
you're right.
flying in the air? Like, who would have thought we would be in airplanes and have drones and helicopters and cell phones and computers and stuff like that,
You're definitely right about that. Okay, so how about this then? If we discover for real that aliens exist, like if they contact us, or if an alien spaceship were to crash in Washington, D.C. right now,
Yeah.
what would be the reaction, do you think?
That
Like
I,
what the
governments
fuck?
would get
I've
scared.
I've thought about this a lot. It could go a lot of different ways. There's the argument that because we have so much sci-fi and pop culture that maybe we've not necessarily we've been desensitized, but we wouldn't have the fear that you see people have in movies. Maybe we would have more excitement than fear. Maybe we would
No
have.
way, man. I don't think so. That's
I
like an
think especially,
existential terror.
dude,
I don't
think
know. I don't
governments,
know.
even if it was peaceful, I think governments would get scared because these things that aren't human have more better technology than we do, because we can't go see other planets.
All I can say is
Especially outside
if aliens came down and they came to the United States, that would be a huge power play.
Dude, it would shake the foundations of our entire species. Every single person on Earth, their conception of reality is
Changed.
based on Earth and the history of Earth and the history of
We
the
would certainly
humans as like the only sentient beings. I mean, all religions, which basically are the cornerstones of civilization, would be wrong or would have to adapt rapidly.
That's not necessarily true. That doesn't necessarily would be wrong. Just because aliens exist doesn't mean God it doesn't exist either.
Yeah, but no. But most religions say that humanity is unique
Like
in
if
terms
you
of
want to get
sentient
to
life.
if you want to get into like Orthodox Catholicism, like true hardcore, like Catholicism that way, where they only believe the world is like 4,000 years old, they don't believe in evolution and stuff like that. Yeah, their perceptions will be shattered. But more modern day Christians and Catholics and Protestants, no, that doesn't. I don't think that challenges their beliefs in any way.
No, it absolutely does, dude. Literally, most major religions in the world, all the monotheist ones at least, are based on the fact that God created Earth and Earth alone to be a life or to be a planet that has life on it, human life, and that we're the children of God. So if there's other beings out there, that completely shatters that entire narrative.
Okay, so then maybe we should separate your faith in the religion itself and your faith in the fact that God exists. So if aliens exist, I don't necessarily think that challenges your faith in your belief that God exists, but I will concede to you and say that maybe it'll challenge your faith in the religion itself.
It would shatter it, dude. It would
So
shatter
are you
everything.
saying if aliens
what if-
exist, you would no longer believe in the religion you subscribe to, and you would no longer believe in God?
No, I wouldn't no longer believe in God. But first of all, I don't necessarily subscribe to any religion, and second of all, if I did, then yeah, I would probably be completely shaken. Phil, what do you think? What are your thoughts? Chime in here.
I
If
don't know.
aliens
It's,
landed, or yeah, if
I don't know.
aliens
It
made
would
contact,
obviously it would be like all of my thoughts would be scrambled because I'm like, I don't know, like a part of me wants me to think that I would be somehow like super optimistic about everything after this is happening because it would prove that everything is possible. But then also
like progress, you mean?
progress and just like from an optimistic perspective, like I don't think that I'm cynical in any way, but like you need some sort of critical thinking. But I don't know, like I think I would like to think that I would react differently, but to everyone else that saw these beings, but I wouldn't. I feel like I would just conform.
So for me, it would
Yeah.
be bittersweet because on one hand, I would be really happy because oh cool, aliens exist, like this is awesome. We're not alone in the universe. And especially if they're advancing us, our technology can advance tenfold. They could show us things. But at the same time, the reason it's bittersweet for me is there's also that strong layer of fear because it's like, okay, they are so much more advanced than us. There are aliens. Are they a threat to us? Are they going to hurt us? Are they peaceful? What do they want from us? All those unanswered questions now suddenly become real.
Yeah.
Here's another thing to think about, and this one might be a little bit more far-fetched, but like, I mean, the ocean has only been, or 80% of the ocean has not been explored. So what if there was, intelligent life somewhere deep in the ocean, far away from what the human eye or what the human reach has been
Oh, you
able to
think megalodons are hiding down there?
That'd be
No,
cool.
no, but like, what if there is some sort of other, like, because evolution says that humanity evolved from like ape-like creatures, right? So what happens if like humans went on, like, because at one point when Pangea was a thing, or when Pangea, sorry, was a thing, humans went, or like human ancestors, I guess, went on like onto land. But what happens if those ape creatures, some of them decided to stay by the sea and fish and swim and be like more aquatic? Would they evolve away from human beings and into
Oh, I see what you're saying, Connor.
like
You're suggesting that there might have been a separate, smaller sect of ape-like humanoid beings that evolved a separate way, different from what we know human beings to be today.
yeah, and turned into like amphibious creatures, and
So, yeah,
still
I
have
mean-
a
But
lot of the
why would
same
they have
That's-
evolved back to being aquatic from being aquatic originally? Like that wouldn't really
Because-
make sense.
They would have had to.
at
They
one
would have
point-
had to been put in a condition that required them to do that, right? They would have had to been in such stressful and harsh conditions that that was the only way that that species could survive. That's like the very basic understanding of how evolution works. And as far as science is concerned, there has been no evidence to suggest that. But like you said, Connor, 80% of the ocean hasn't been discovered. So we could just chalk that up to we haven't found the evidence for something like that to happen.
Yeah, but also like mammal brains are the largest brains, right? Like part of the reason we're intelligent is that we're primates, which happen to be some of the most intelligent beings on Earth, and primates being a division of mammals. Dolphins would be the next one. Again, mammals though. So I don't know. Well, maybe dolphins are what you're talking about. Like
Yeah,
they're the
maybe.
second smartest creatures on
Maybe.
Earth. But you know what I mean? Like if it was some kind of like there's no way a fish could evolve on Earth to be as smart as a human or like a bird, you know? But I don't know, man. I mean, we haven't explored much of the oceans, so that would be dope. But okay, talking about like aliens again. So there's always a classic struggle of like, are they gonna wipe us out, all that bullshit, or will they be friendly? And I want to know what you guys think about this. So Stephen Hawking said once that he basically likened aliens coming to Earth as Christopher Columbus coming to the Americas, and that we would be the natives in that situation. And so obviously, things didn't end so well for the natives. So the question is then, if he's right about that, I'm trying to find his exact quote here.
Would we assimilate or
said,
annihilate? Is what you're asking?
He said, yeah, like he said, quote, such advanced aliens would perhaps become nomads looking to conquer and colonize whatever planets they can reach. And then what the hell do we do to stop them, dude?
All right, why don't we save that for next episode? We can answer that question in the next episode, which comes out on Friday. So everyone stay tuned for that one. I think we'll have another interesting alien annihilation video or talk, sorry, not video talk.
Death and
but yeah,
destruction.
we'll leave you guys with that on that little bit of a cliffhanger. So please tune in again on Friday, and until then, take care, brush your hair.